Sometimes the truth waits in silence, simmering behind closed doors, until one moment blows everything apart. For Rebecca, that moment came not during her divorce proceedings, not in therapy, and not in court, but at her own divorce party, surrounded by friends, champagne, and the ghosts of a love that had rotted from the inside. This is a story of betrayal, deceit, scandal, and one woman's stunning confession that turned everything on its head. But Rebecca's confession wasn't just about her husband's affair. It revealed a secret that no one, absolutely no one, saw coming. Rebecca and Daniel met during their junior year of college. He was tall, confident, and carried a quiet charm that drew people in. She was ambitious, intelligent, with a warmth that made even strangers feel like lifelong friends. Their connection was instant. Study dates turned into late-night talks, and within a year, they were inseparable. They graduated with honors. Rebecca pursued a career in child psychology, while Daniel entered law school. Despite the rigors of his program, Daniel never missed their Sunday morning coffee tradition. Their love felt unshakable. When he proposed under the cherry blossoms of Washington, D.C., Rebecca said yes without hesitation. The wedding was a dream, white roses, handwritten vows, and a promise to grow old together. Friends called them the golden couple. Rebecca believed it too. But the shine didn't last. In the beginning, it was small things. Daniel stopped checking in during the day. He stopped asking about her patients, her worries, her joys. Instead, he immersed himself in work, returning late, distracted. Rebecca chalked it up to stress. After all, Daniel had always wanted to make partner at his firm. Then came the phone always turned face down. Sudden business trips. Missed anniversaries. One night, she found a silk scarf in the glove compartment. It wasn't hers. When she asked, Daniel smiled and said, "It must belong to one of the interns from work, I gave them a ride." She believed him. She wanted to believe him. But the distance widened. Then, one afternoon, Rebecca visited Daniel's office to surprise him with lunch. As she stepped out of the elevator, she saw Clara. A stunning brunette. Young. Wearing Daniel's favorite cologne. Laughing as she texted someone on her phone. She didn't know it then, but that chance meeting would unravel everything. Rebecca noticed something strange about Clara, a familiar charm bracelet, one she had lost years ago. How did Clara have it? The charm bracelet had tiny letters engraved, R&D, a heart, and a little anchor. It was a sentimental piece Daniel had given her on their 3rd anniversary. Rebecca had lost it during a vacation in the Keys. She'd searched for days, eventually letting go of the heartbreak and assuming it had been swept away by the sea. Now it was wrapped around Clara's wrist like it belonged to her. Rebecca didn't say anything then. She turned and left without dropping off the lunch. But something deep inside her began to wake up. Over the next few weeks, Rebecca watched. She paid attention to every excuse, every sudden meeting, every late arrival. Daniel had a new lightness to him. He started whistling in the mornings, smiling to himself when he didn't think she noticed. Rebecca tried to push the growing storm in her chest aside. She told herself she was overthinking things. That all marriages went through phases. But the truth clawed at her. One night, Daniel fell asleep on the couch, phone clutched in his hand. Rebecca hesitated for a long moment before picking it up. It was locked, but curiosity pushed her forward. She tried the wedding date. It opened. There they were. Messages from C. Clara. I miss you already. Last night was perfect. Don't forget to wear that blue tie I like today, winking face. She doesn't suspect, right? Rebecca's heart broke and burned all at once. She felt like she couldn't breathe. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was intimate, personal, and deliberate. But she didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, she started documenting everything. Screenshots. Photos. Notes. She confided in no one. Not even her best friend, Marla. Because something told her this wasn't just about infidelity. There was something else. Clara's bracelet. The smirks. The timing. So, Rebecca decided to dig. Using a friend from work, she requested a background check on Clara. It came back fast, and what she found made her blood run cold. Clara wasn't just an intern. She was adopted. By Daniel's mother's side of the family. Clara was Daniel's cousin by adoption. But why had he hidden that? And why was Clara listed as next of kin in Daniel's emergency contact records, replacing Rebecca months ago? Rebecca stared at the emergency contact form like it might burst into flames in her hands. Next of kin, Clara B. Not her. Not his wife. Clara, his cousin by adoption. His secret mistress. The woman parading around with her lost charm bracelet like some twisted trophy. This wasn't just betrayal. This was premeditated, sinister, and calculated. But it was the date on the form that chilled her the most. Daniel had updated his records nearly 7 months ago. Quietly. Without a word. Around the same time, he had started picking fights over nothing. Criticizing her cooking. Her job. Her clothes. Creating distance, setting the stage to make her the problem. Rebecca's breath hitched. It was clear now, Daniel had been planning her exit. The more she pulled at the threads, the uglier the picture became. With the help of her colleague, Rebecca dug deeper into Clara's life, medical records, social media, obscure public filings. What she found next turned her stomach. Clara was pregnant. 8 weeks along. Rebecca stared at the ultrasound photo posted in a private Facebook album linked to a dummy profile. The caption read, "Little miracle. Can't wait to meet you, baby D." Baby D? Rebecca knew that D wasn't for Daniel's last name. It was for Daniel himself. She remembered his subtle comments, his avoidance of future plans. The growing discomfort anytime children came up in conversation. He'd once said, maybe parenting just isn't for everyone, Bex. But clearly, he had wanted a child. Just not with her. Fury didn't even begin to describe it. She went numb. But even in that frozen silence, she crafted a plan. Over the next few weeks, Rebecca played her part perfectly. She smiled. She kissed him goodbye every morning. She even began planning a divorce party under the guise of reclaiming her independence. Daniel didn't suspect a thing. And why would he? In his mind, she was broken. Discarded. Powerless. He didn't realize that Rebecca had already filed the papers. That she'd found a lawyer far more ruthless than his. That she'd secured a private investigator to track every move he made. The evidence piled up. Photos of Daniel and Clara on weekend getaways. Receipts from a jeweler, matching rings engraved D and C forever. Even a prenatal appointment bill charged to Daniel's secondary health insurance plan. He had been financially supporting Clara for months. Rebecca printed it all. Organized it into neat folders. Color-coded, indexed, undeniable. Then she waited for the perfect moment. The day of the divorce party arrived like a storm wrapped in silk. Held at an upscale rooftop bar overlooking the city, it was filled with laughter, clinking glasses, and Rebecca's closest friends, most of whom had no idea what truly led to the end of her marriage. Daniel hadn't been invited, of course. But that didn't mean he wouldn't show up. In fact, she was counting on it. The champagne flowed. Speeches were made. Marla toasted to new beginnings, and Rebecca, poised in a cream suit, stood with calm grace. Then she took the mic. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she began, voice steady but thick with unspoken pain. "Divorce is never easy. It's not something I ever imagined would be part of my story. But life has a way of revealing truths we're not ready for." The crowd hushed. Rebecca's eyes sparkled, not from tears, but from something fiercer. Justice. Fire. Revenge. She pulled a folder from behind the bar and held it high. This, she said, is the truth Daniel didn't want anyone to see. Whispers surged through the crowd. Marla's eyes widened. In these files, you'll find every lie. Every betrayal. From the affair with Clara to the pregnancy he tried to hide. From the stolen charm bracelet to the financial records connecting them. Gasps. A glass shattered in the distance. Rebecca continued. But the part that hurt the most wasn't the cheating. It was the replacement. Quietly. Legally. Emotionally. Daniel removed me from his life before he had the decency to even tell me. And he replaced me with her. Then she paused. And Clara, sweetheart, I know you're watching this. Maybe from the shadows. Maybe from home. Maybe from the bathroom of this very bar. But here's the thing. Rebecca smiled. I know the baby isn't Daniel's. The crowd erupts. What does she mean? Clara is pregnant, Daniel's supporting her, but he's not the father? Rebecca holds up one more folder, containing a paternity test. The rooftop bar, moments ago buzzing with laughter and soft music, now stood in stunned silence. Rebecca's words rang through the air like a bell, sharp, clear, and unrelenting. I know the baby isn't Daniel's. All eyes locked onto her. Gasps cut through the silence. Someone dropped their drink. A waiter froze mid-step. Marla's mouth hung open, and a few guests exchanged shocked glances. This wasn't just a confession, it was a detonation. Rebecca calmly opened the final folder in her hand, revealing a glossy document clipped neatly at the top. A paternity test, she said, her voice unwavering. Conducted just 2 weeks ago. Collected discreetly with the help of my lawyer and a very discreet lab technician. She held it up so everyone could see the bold letters across the top. The baby Clara is carrying is not Daniel's. In fact, it never was. The crowd erupted into murmurs, confused and scandalized. Rebecca placed the folder on the bar like it was evidence in a courtroom. I'm not saying this to embarrass anyone, she continued. I'm saying it because for too long, I let myself be made to feel small. Replaceable. Worthless. But the truth matters, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Marla stepped forward, stunned. Then, whose baby is it? Rebecca took a breath. That's the question, isn't it? She walked to a small table beside the DJ booth and picked up a second document. This, she said, holding it aloft, is a DNA test run against a secondary suspect. Someone who has been close to both Clara and Daniel. Someone Daniel trusts implicitly. Someone with access to Daniel's office, home, and personal life. A pause. The crowd leaned in. It's Daniel's best friend, Rebecca said coldly. Nathan. Another wave of shock. People audibly gasped. A woman near the back covered her mouth in horror. Yes. Nathan, the best man at our wedding. The man who toasted to our forever. The man who looked me in the eye and told me I was the best thing that ever happened to Daniel. Rebecca's hands trembled slightly, but her gaze was steely. The test came back positive. 99.9% certainty. Nathan is the father of Clara's baby. The crowd practically exploded. Some stood in disbelief. Others sat down heavily, as if the revelation had knocked the wind from them. Someone muttered, "Holy sh*T." Rebecca turned to the camera her friend had been filming on. I wanted the truth to be on record. For Clara. For Daniel. For Nathan. And for me. She gave the smallest nod, then turned off the mic. The party didn't resume. It never could. The following week, social media exploded. Clips from the divorce party spread like wildfire. Hashtags like hashtag divorce drop, hashtag Clara exposed, and hashtag Rebecca revenge trended for days. Blogs, influencers, and talk shows picked up the story, some questioning the ethics, others applauding the sheer boldness. Rebecca stayed silent. Until an anonymous Reddit AMA appeared from someone claiming to be the woman behind the party heard round the world. Yes, it was real. No, I don't regret it. I gave them grace in private. They responded with lies in public. So I gave them truth in return. Meanwhile, Daniel's life unraveled rapidly. His firm placed him on leave pending an internal ethics review. His conduct with a subordinate was a legal nightmare. Clara, now publicly humiliated, deleted all social media and retreated from the public eye. And Nathan? He initially denied everything, until Clara, under pressure, confirmed the affair. Rebecca's actions weren't born from cruelty, but from justice. She filed for financial compensation for emotional damages and marital fraud. Her lawyer, fierce and sharp, negotiated an aggressive settlement that left Daniel stunned and Clara alone. But for Rebecca, the real healing came quietly. Weeks after the party, she moved out of their apartment. She rented a cozy loft filled with light and windows that overlooked a quiet park. She painted the walls soft sage and filled her bookshelves with all the volumes Daniel once mocked her for reading. She started running again. Sleeping through the night. Laughing without hesitation. One day, she received a letter in the mail, no return address. It simply read, "You showed me what strength looks like. Thank you for standing up, not just for yourself, but for every woman who's ever been told to sit down and stay quiet. I'll never forget it." There was no signature. Just a single charm enclosed in the envelope. An anchor. Sometimes, strength isn't about silence. It's not about forgiving the unforgivable or staying when someone has already walked away in their heart. Sometimes, strength looks like truth. Like fire. Like walking through the storm and knowing your worth on the other side. Rebecca didn't destroy a man's life. She revealed the life he had been living all along. And in doing so, she saved herself. Not with vengeance. But with power. With clarity. With undeniable, radiant truth. Because sometimes, healing starts with a party. And ends with an anchor. If you've ever faced betrayal or heartbreak, share your story in the comments below, because sometimes, the best way to heal is to know you're not alone. And please do not forget to subscribe for more shocking betrayal stories. Stay strong, stay curious, and remember, the truth always finds a way to come out.